Hi, I'm John.
And I'm Eli.
And you're watching Screen Obscura.
And tonight we're going to be trying something new for you. We're going to talk about a TV show instead.
Yeah, so we just watched Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, all of it. Well, not all in one sitting, but we watched it as it was playing live. So we have some thoughts on the show, and we did see all of Game of Thrones. We actually just watched it right before Knight of the Seven Kingdoms started. I had seen Game of Thrones live as it was coming out. We all know how we feel about it, season 8. We can talk about Game of Thrones another time.
Yeah.
Right after this.
Thank God.
And so today we'll just talk about Knight of the Seven Kingdoms because it was nice and short, and we can do probably like a quick video on it just to get our thoughts out there and make sure it's and go viral. So,
Okay, since this is a full series review, we're going to just dive right in. Full spoilers. Up ahead, 3, 2, 1, spoilers.
I've read the book, not all of it. I read the first novella, that was the first season of this show, and I liked it. I don't love it like everyone else does.
The show or the book?
The show.
Okay.
The book I really loved because it's a short story. Everything was condensed. It was like very fast paced. They took some liberties in the show by extending certain sequences, especially in like the second last episode there, where they decided to cut in the middle of the fight and go back in time. I ended up liking the backstory sequence a little bit, showing Duncan, him growing up in Flea Bottom, and his not girlfriend Rafe. That was really cool. I did actually enjoy that. I do think the placement was a little like, really? Like, come on. Could have kept the momentum.
Yeah,
throughout the fight.
I definitely feel like the whole series was very slow, and again, like we'll kind of get into that.
Yeah.
But I felt like that was like our moment. That was like our climactic, big, dramatic fight that we were waiting for, and it was gonna be a bloodbath, and it was really exciting that it was finally about to happen. The second it starts, it cuts to slow pace, like backstory for a good like 15 minutes, it seemed like.
Yeah.
For a 30-minute episode.
Right.
But kind of like what you said, like ultimately at the end, because it did end up full circling.
Right,
it was nice. It was nice that it kind of
It brought it all together.
brought us back to reality. But the cut was garbage, and half of the sequence that was introduced following the cut was fucking garbage.
That killed the momentum for me. But anyway. And as far as momentum goes and like the slow pace of the story, it's what I obviously expected since I read the book. I know it's supposed to be like a slow, cozy, chill show, really, until Duncan gets involved with the royalty and shit starts to go down, like real shit starts to go down. The characters are great. I do like all of the Targaryens as far as like acting goes. I didn't like the way Aerion looked when I first saw the initial trailers.
No.
Like short-haired, kind of like
Lizard
weird looking, lizard looking. In the book, he's described as like long hair. You kind of almost picture him like Rhaegar Targaryen from like the modern day Game of Thrones. Aerion's design was a little odd at first. I grew accustomed to it. He was fine. Baelor, amazing. Myker, amazing. Egg, he was a great Egg. He's right off the book. Actually, a lot of the characters are right off the book. So I felt comfortable with almost everybody in this translated work, and I didn't feel really betrayed by anyone.
From the perspective of like someone who didn't read the book, diving into it, I found that all the characters were pretty cool. Honestly, I didn't really know any of them, to be honest. I didn't read the novel, so I went into it full face value of what was being presented to me. For the most part, I liked all of them. So fucking Denzel Washington, but not about her looks. I just found that she was so boring. Yeah. And the actress was not good. Was not a good actress. Like, something about it. Like, I every time she was on screen, I was just zoned out. Her and then the other girl with the red hair. I'm sounding like a misogynist now, but the red hair.
The whore?
Yeah, me.
Whore? The one that Raymond ended up with.
Yes.
Which I don't think was in the book. I don't remember that.
Well, she's like, oh, you little warrior knight is in my belly now.
Yeah. She actually, I don't think she was in the book at all.
She's a slut.
She is. That is her role.
And it belongs in a turnip cart, lifting up her skirt and laughing.
Yeah. Roz, exactly. It's Roz's ancestor for sure. She ends up in the north somehow. We'll see.
And I really liked Rafe. I thought Rafe's character, like,
I did too.
The actress, like, was really good at portraying Rafe.
Yeah.
Did I like Rafe's character? Not really. Not very likable. I don't know what Rafe was like in the book. If Rafe is even in the book? Not in the book?
Nope.
So why was he there?
Okay, as far as I know, he's not. She's not in the first novella. I don't know. She's later in the book. Because I've only read the first novella. I want to read them as the show is coming out. Yeah. So I read the first novella like a couple days before the show started. And I'm in the middle of the second one right now, but I'm going to wait until the next season comes out.
Well, also too, yeah, maybe it is exposed in the other ones, because even at the end of the show, it's like Egg goes back with Duncan.
Yeah.
And then Sir Duncan, holy fuck. And Makar is like, where the fuck's my son?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's like exposed that like Egg ran away from his dad.
Yeah. Whatever. And that, as far as I know from the book, I don't think they said that at the end of the first novella. So maybe it's revealed later. Pacing was good. It did exactly what it wanted to do, right? It didn't always keep my attention initially because it is a much smaller, tighter, like geographically, it's like very much settled in like a single area in the entirety of Westeros. When comparing that to Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, it does feel small. I completely understand that was his full intention. It's kind of refreshing.
I agree. Usually when things are a lot smaller and the mise-en-scene and the setting is localized, it feels very claustrophobic. And this, I liked it. It was endearing. It felt very intimate.
Yes,
and it worked very, very well. Granted, a lot of it was campsite and like little
tents.
Yeah, and some shitty play going on by Tenzel. But besides that, I mean, I liked it. I found it was very intimate, and I felt that it was really good at exposing and getting us to know the characters a little bit more, rather than having giant castles of CGI in the background and dragons flying around and cocks growing in. I don't know where I was going with that. It also felt, and this is good. This maybe is a bit of a stretch. I kind of got like Monty Python from it a little bit, in the sense where everything was kind of stupid and more comedic than Game of Thrones is.
Yeah.
But it was also...
especially at the beginning.
Yeah, but it was also just very condensed, and it was pretty colorful, I would say, for something that was...
Yes.
I feel should have been a little bit more dull.
Yeah.
It was pretty colorful, like visually, which was very, very nice as well. And refreshing.
The graphic novel of this book and the novella, it very much makes the point that it's very colorful where he is at the camp and blah, blah, blah. They actually had it a little bit more mute in the show, but I've seen people complain about that online. So we get like a very small set of characters that sort of surround Duncan. And, just for the small, brief descriptions that we get in the book, everyone looks the part, and you can recognize them by their face, and it's kind of hard to remember all the names, like Sir Donald Duskendale and all these Knights of the Kingsguard. I do wish we had more moments with those characters in the show, just to flesh them out a bit more. I understand they were kind of just cannon fodder for the Trial of the Seven fights. The biggest issue with the show is the 30-minute timeline. I understand you're adapting a short novel, but like stretch it out a little bit. Flesh out the characters that we didn't get as much time with in the book, like the Kingsguard, or like Sir Stephen Fossaway a bit more. Raymond Fossaway. Granted, Raymond was one of the more fleshed out characters. I would have just liked to see more of the surrounding characters. That's all. Yeah,
I'm in the same boat as you. I feel like for 30 minutes, you have to add more value to those 30 minutes, whereas I feel like if it's like 45, 50, you have much more freedom to have those filler scenes and those prolonged like think pieces and shit like that. In this context, we kind of just really needed something to keep it driven, and I just felt like it was driving, but it was just driving slowly. I felt like I was in a car and I was kind of just like, you know what I mean? Yeah. On that note though as well, the pilot was not great in my opinion. I felt that the pilot was not really captivating, and I found that it did drag, and I feel...
I think the first 3 episodes did.
I think... I think the first 6 episodes did. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. That does not mean that it's bad. Granted, I also love Game of Thrones, so I'm in it to win it. I'm in it because I love this land. I love this story. I love the history and these people. Like this is my Diary of Anne Frank. And it's like, granted, I didn't like House of the Dragon. I only gave it that little test run. Not a fan of her mouth, but
whose mouth? Millie Alcott?
Fucking Supergirl. Anyway,
she was only in it for like half the.
Well, first fuck her, and she fucked her uncle. Next,
that is hearsay. She did not.
She did. He fucked her ass.
Not that time.
That's all the clip.
He took her to the brothel.
Of course he did.
Yeah, and then he didn't fuck her. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Anyways.
He fingered her. He was trying to turn her on to fuck somebody else, and then she did. She fucked one of the King's Guards. Anyway. House of the Dragon season 1's good. Okay. Second season,
no.
Anyway.
But the whole universe was very sweet.
Yeah.
And it tickled my fancy a little bit, love. I will say though, Sir Duncan the Tall, the amount of times that he said the word, the amount of times that he
I know what you're gonna say.
said the word honor, and the amount of times that he said Sir Arlen of Banny Tree. Take a shot every time he says that you're dead. You are in a morgue.
Yeah, that's
the amount of times he says that.
Yes,
and that is what the filler is. So much of the filler is him sitting by a tree or sitting on like by a bush shitting and thinking to himself like, Sir Arlen, he was a man of honor. And then Egg's like, yo bitch in the background. That is like, you could have had,
suck it up.
Yeah, suck what? You could have had so much more introduced. Like you did it 2-3 times. Number 12, you're done. You're last call. You can leave now.
But Sir Arlen penetrate. Penetrate. Sir Arlen penetrate. Gross.
Sir Arlen of penetrate. That was awesome. Oh, he's walking with his giant horse cock.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have to piss love in it, bro.
And he grabs it too.
He has his 2 hands to go piss, and he uses it as a sword.
Jump rope. If you know the universe of Game of Thrones, they do sprinkle a lot of lore stuff, which I really enjoyed. A lot about the Blackfire Rebellion, because of course we're kind of in the middle of it. Not really. It's ended. But there's still remnants of what happened. If you know the lore, they talk about it a lot, and they mention it a lot, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Like Egg is sitting in a tree, talking about stories about the Blackfire Rebellion. It was really cool. I enjoyed those moments. And they constantly mention about the Dance of the Dragons, which is House of the Dragon, and even give a little bit of Easter eggs for what you know in Game of Thrones in the future. So it's really cool. I do enjoy it for that. And that's why I am watching the show, is because I love the universe so much. Like you said, I'm here for it. No matter how maybe slow or different it is tonally, I'm still there for it. So I'm looking forward to season 2. I did read the first little bit of the second book. You know, it's an interesting direction. We'll see how they put it onto TV. In terms of our overall ratings, we rate movies out of 5 or shows out of 5. So overall rating for the entire series.
Sure. I give season 1 of Night of the Seven Kingdoms, well, 9 Kingdoms now.
Oh yeah.
I give it a 3.75.
Okay.
And maybe that is low for some, maybe that's too high for some, because I feel like what I gave it is pretty much where it is right now with the general public.
Yeah.
I definitely am looking more forward to season 2. I think for the most part, it did a really good job at being its own entity, which I think is really hard to do when it comes to a Game of Thrones kind of spin-off. I feel like House of the Dragon, the reason why I was sucked out of it was because I just felt that it was trying to mimic Game of Thrones, in my opinion. Then again, it's more the context and everything, and the political stancing and everything is more Game of Thronesy.
Yeah.
But still, I feel like this as its own entity, it's able to successfully be its own thing while also tied into the universe. I also really like that for the most part, while it is kind of slow and it have elements of tragedy and self-doubt and whatever, man of honor, Alan of Pennyfuck. I found that when there was fighting and when there was violence, it was very gory. It was things that you didn't see in the other spin-offs of Game of Thrones or Game of Thrones itself. I feel like for the most part, a lot of shanking and beheading was going on, and this was really graphic, which I really, really liked. They kind of made up for it in a sense, where everything was so slow and dragged.
Yep.
That it was nice that it was able to suck you back in.
Yep. It was refreshing a little bit, especially after almost 5 episodes
of nothing
without brutal violence. Yeah. Besides Tenzel's fingers getting cut off, thank God.
Actually, no. That's the thing. Her fingers weren't being cut off; they were ripped off.
That's right. Yeah.
That's fucked. Thank God it happened to her.
I give it a 4 to 5. There's room for improvement. Extend the episodes. Don't be afraid to do an hour. Mm-hmm. There's a lot you can do with this story, and there's some things that you can extend it without breaking the story. Obviously, you did it with the backstory with Rafe. I don't know if that takes place later in the books, but you're gonna have to extend it anyway, because knowing where this story is supposed to go, even beyond the 3 novellas that are written right now, There's a lot you can do. I just found like every single time, it would get to like a good point in the story, it cuts off at the 30-minute mark. And I'm like, bro, please. And then the momentum resets at the beginning of the next episode. So it's just a little annoying.
It's like you're constantly being edged.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess that TV shows are supposed to be doing that, but I never felt like that in Game of Thrones. Granted, we watched it, back to back.
I think there's two parts as to why they did that. I think they wanted to see how well it did, obviously,
like retention?
for the first season. Yeah, exactly. And I think they also know in today's day and age, people have no attention span. It's not easy for people to be sucked into and roped into following a series the way they could have done back in the day. That's why television series used to be like 12 freaking seasons, and each episode was like 45 minutes long. Now it's like you're lucky if you get like a half-hour one, which is really sad. Television is a dying breed, and television is a dying form of media. And I think that if they keep going the way that they're doing it, they're going to make sure that not only is it dead, but it's fucking buried. So I think they need to loop it back up and not be shy with it. And if people don't have the attention span to watch it, go on Vyvanse, ADHD medication, and then you can start fresh.
Or watch Stranger Things, because it was made for people that want to have second screens.
Yeah.
That's actually what the director said.
Yeah. Or you can watch any VH1 reality TV show like Rock of Love or Flavor of Love, where they have sex for money.
Fuck you, Duffer Brothers, for ruining Stranger Things. I'm Jon.
And fuck you, Maggie Gyllenhaal. I'm Eli.
That's out of context as fuck.
If you are easily offended, please like and subscribe. And if you're not easily offended, please like, subscribe, and comment.